just that was Tuesday.
Oh, not testifying, not like what Wes was about.
No, yeah. So I actually went there to the council.
Oh, and he was testifying in it? Yeah.
We're at the White House talking about the grant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was asking, like, what are you doing in the area? No, we're pushing these grants. I said, well, so we talked about some grants. Some other grants have been going on.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, we got 209 hours. We don't have 90 days to spend on it. And then we got regular intermediate grant. It has to be written within 90 days of the event. So we're working on that one. They do like the play vehicle. That one probably close up to us looking at it. So we have 3 to 4 types of people on it now. I don't think related that well. We have to write that all the grants. So there's only 3 of us do this unity piece. We need some help. So we're looking to hire somebody to manage the grant itself. So we're getting some resumes in, job descriptions out, they've been getting some responses. That would be so helpful for us. Because it's just been trying to maintain the work still continues, right? School still has needs and but yeah, we have lots of, we're really, that's what's really because we don't have a lot of, we have some ideas, I can't say that. Oh, I think I love to read this. So that's why I was really hoping to get some. Yeah.
the hardest thing to do is get kids Saturday or something like that. Because one, it was nice earlier, but so we don't want to it's raining. We definitely it's raining. Like it doesn't matter what the climate is, there's some type of excuse. Also, you know,
Yeah, some of them.
you know, walking is just a huge thing. So, like,
Yeah.
So that's
I know there's got a huge invitation to try to make it today. We have these tracks going on, so I don't know if there was any of that today or not.
and I'm sure there's track meet today.
Yeah. It's hard to get kids. You have to almost go where the kids are. You have to go to an event where they're already there. And which is my plan. I think we're just going to reach out to the school. We're going to nail this eventually. We're about wrapped up. The chat is how it's going to do. Actually, the next set of questions.
Alright, we're about wrapped up with this, kind of activity. So I hope y'all have your 2 contacts, your 2 power holders. And does anyone want to kind of shout out who they put down? So Norfolk Southern politicians. Did you find any contacts for any of those folks?
Well, yeah, we have. I have. What do you call, you're never going to go Richard Shaw, because everyone knows that. He has always peons entering the government, speaking for him, doing what he, as far as even how many meetings that he has not attended or whatever. And we're never going to get anything out of him to be able to speak to him, but not saying he's not the cause. He plays a big part in, of course, his engineers and all the different people. They are the ones who is driving the train and all the stuff that has caused this to happen with their poor judgment. But they're all in the same boat together, and the politicians, they're getting their donations. They're falling right into what they're telling them. It's just a big round vicious circle is what it is.
Do either of y'all want to shout out who you put down?
something I think contributes to the accident, like why they just kept going, they ignored inspections, they didn't do anything from that.
All right, well, thank y'all. And I hope you all have contacts for those folks. And y'all found contacts for those folks. Because the goal with this activity is really just to give you guys an option, a way of kind of finding and identifying and communicating with those folks who happen to have your power at their behest. And on the other side of this paper, we've got two triangles, and we've got some questions that y'all can think about and answer on your own time. But these two triangles represent what we call a just transition. And this is like a really basic, bare bones diagram my old friend had made, or had a much better one. But I just pulled this together in 15 minutes. But what we're attempting to represent here is the fact that on the right side, at the top of this pyramid, are folks like politicians, Norfolk Southern, your schools, and the people who hold all of the information, all of the control, all of the power here in this dynamic. And they are taking that power, they are taking money, they are taking resources from you, from the folks who are in the middle and at the bottom, and hoarding it, and using it to exploit an environment of people. The idea of a just transition, which is the upside down pyramid, is that power that they have hoarded, that wealth that they have hoarded, those resources that they have taken, are redistributed from top to bottom in such a way that it prioritizes the health, well-being, and environmental soundness of the communities that those resources have been taken from. So that is what we're trying to demonstrate with these two triangles. And we've got some questions on here that you can feel free to answer on your own time. When you go home or something, if you're like, I'd really like to think more on this. And that is part of our goal here today, is to make sure y'all are thinking deeply, constructively about this, about action, about future steps. Because it's only through consistently keeping this in mind that we will be able to break through the kind of apathy that surrounds us now. So, that's unfortunate. Well, anyways, on the other sheet, we've got a series of prompts, and these prompts exist to help y'all determine your vision for a better future of East Palestine. And I particularly want the youth in the room to fill this out, because I know Jenna was talking about having kids. And I know that a lot of folks are wondering about, can I go back to school? Folks might be wondering about whether or not having a job, for long parts of the day is safe anymore because of the health risks that are associated with the chemicals that are in the air, the soil, the water. Part of this exercise is really just to get you to think about what is healthy for you, what is healthy for your community, what does that mean for you, what does that mean to you? We're going to give y'all maybe 5 minutes to fill out any of those that you like. You don't have to fill them all out. If you want to, later on, you're welcome to. in the meantime, these are techniques that we use in order to organize, orient ourselves to work for our community. So we have three categories: direct action, getting the word out, and building and using power. And under direct action, we have all kinds of protests, we have boycotts, we have mutual aid, which is kind of what we were working on earlier in this crisis with the Clean Air Council, which was we were basically gathering resources from folks in Pittsburgh, getting them to Clean Air Council. Clean Air Council was taking them from Pittsburgh to here. So that was water, respirators, air filters, all kinds of stuff. And that's stuff that can happen here too. That stuff that can be done from within the community as well. Getting the word out, canvassing, phone banking, text banking, all the things that RVO is already doing. Flyering, petitioning, social media, one-on-ones, friend-to-friend recruitment. These are all different forms, and they're fairly self-explanatory of how you personally can use your networks and your agency to get the word out to build power.
So also, phone banking and text banking. So if you're not familiar with those terms, phone banking is basically calling people and telling them about candidates. The people that call you and tell you about candidates, that's phone banking. Text banking is the same thing, but with text. Yeah, I think it's really good to do stuff with, especially with that helps. Yeah, helps deprive them of resources, and there's a lot of that stuff, like that type of thing. So we have Sunrise tries to combine a bunch of different ways of doing things. That those two different ways. So we do direct action and yeah.
Thank you. And finally, we have building and using power. So these are different forms, like a town hall, which is what we're doing right now, of gathering people, amalgamating communal power, and having y'all exercise it yourself. So lobbying, for instance, like if y'all were like, we want to go to Columbus, and we want to go and talk to whoever the hell's in charge around here about what's going on. And you called RVO and you called Sunrise, we would be there. I know RVO would be there, and we would help y'all organize a lobbying trip to Columbus, posting public comments on as many different places as possible. I know the EPA often has things that are open for public comment. Use those. Writing and emailing and calling representatives. That is exactly why we have those contacts on those sheets for y'all. So that you guys, now knowing those contacts, now having those on a piece of paper, you can go and you can do that yourselves. Workshops and trainings, which is what I'm doing right now. And speeches and public statements, like what Jenna gave earlier about her concerns for her community. So all of these are forms of power building, power organizing within your own communities and retaking, reclaiming your agency.
Also, I think it's important, encourage, you should probably put that on a sheet as well, because it's important to think about how can these people, these individuals, what ways can I use my power over in these specific forum, and what's the best way to push them? And often that depends on how you orient yourself towards that person. So yeah, I'll give you an example from Sunrise. Sunrise is so in the 2020 election, we did two different things, and afterwards we did two things that seemed completely ridiculous when you think them alone. So we tried to push for Biden's election and doing phone banking canvassing, phone banking. And then
I regretted it afterwards.
And then in the summer, we protested him at the White House. And
I was there. I blocked one of the entries to the White House after helping him get elected.
And knowing,
no friends, no enemies.
We were doing that full phone banking, full well and knowing that coming that summer that's what we would be doing. Not because we thought Biden was a good person, but because we knew we had more of a chance of moving him. And that's why we were pressuring him in that way. Because we have power over him in a way that we don't have through other people.
Are you guys going to, they say there's any people from East Palestine going to Atlanta for the North, and Southern main office town in Atlanta? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know, but you,
Yes. My name is Daniel Winston. I am the co-executive director of River Valley Organizing.
Oh, okay, that's very good.
It's a big title that means I just to make sure we get everything done. But we are planning on doing some actions in different places. Here, doing some actions in East Liverpool, doing some actions in Columbus, possibly doing some actions in Atlanta, possibly doing some actions in DC. But these things are still in the planning process of working with our members, the constituents, and our people here, but also working with elected officials as well to try to push what we can push without having to push hard and spend a lot of money to push them. Sometimes our words are pushy enough. So if we can take a group of constituents down, a group of people from East Palestine, the surrounding area, and go to the Capitol building and have conversations and plan meetings with congressmen and congresswomen and senators, we should try that first, right? My grandma always used to tell me, dance with who brung you. And since we put you in office, we might as well dance with you a little bit, right? So before I tell you you're no good, I have to at least try to dance with you before you try to step on my feet. Now you step on my feet, then I got to say, all right, we're not working with you anymore. We're just going to do what we have to do, right? But at least I should try to do the two-step with you first. So we are planning some actions. Be on the lookout. We're going to be taking people because we believe at RVO that the way you build power is using the community to build power. I'm from Wellsville, so maybe 15, 16 miles away. It takes me 33 minutes to get here. That's what my GPS said. So I don't have the right to come here and tell you what you need. My job is to listen, evaluate, and see where we use the context that we have to place them with the people of East Palestine so the people of East Palestine can be their own savior. Helicoptering in and saying, I'm going to come and talk to you about blah, 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 that never works. Matter of fact, it usually has the opposite effect. And so the only people who can do this are the people who are, being harmed and hurt by this in the beginning, right? And then also the people your stories matter, right? I was at the White House. Am I allowed to tell a story? I know we have time. I'm gonna take that privilege. I was at the White House Tuesday, and we were talking about what's going on. And it's good because when you talk to our organizers, when you talk to our canvassers, and you give them a story, those stories get put in a database. And every night I go through that database and look at the stories. And sometimes there's added more stories. Sometimes, I'm saying there's 15 stories about this. I'm like, oh my goodness. So while I'm at the White House, because we just can't pick up everybody and take them to the White House because it costs money. I feel like sometimes I'm on the Little Rascals. He's like, I need your money. This is the only way to do it. But so we're there, we're bringing the stories of the people, and I'm telling them, 80 people said this. Don't tell me that this is right when 80 people said this. And I can give you their names. So, give me what I need to tell the people what's going on. And so we are working with, another thing, my grandma was my favorite person, by the way. She passed away 2 years ago, but all of her little quirky sayings, they're in my head. So she would say, Daniel, baby, sometimes you gotta trust people, but also verify. And I'd be like, all right, I guess we'll trust them. She said, but verify. And so that's what I told the White House. I said, listen, we have the EPA, we have the CDC, we have HHS, right? We are actually in contact with all of them. And they're all doing work that they need to do, right? But I just don't give them my trust. We verify what they're doing. So I can't just say to EPA, you guys are bleepity, 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 and this is not getting done. I need to say, EPA, I have people telling me this, this, this. How can you help me make sure that this is not happening? And then they say, Daniel, this is what's happening. Then I say, people, this is what's happening. But let's give them a couple weeks. Let's give them a week or so before we see if this is true or not. And if it's true or not, then we can be like, okay, let's see how we work. I believe that what we need here, like I told them at the White House, I told them in Congress, I said, we need more transparency. And transparency doesn't come from you doing a press conference at the Capitol building or at the White House press briefing. That doesn't work. It doesn't work when you put something on your website. You know why? Because I'm looking at the website. But regular people aren't looking at websites. That's why I was so excited a couple weeks ago the EPA put out that they were sending the newsletter out to people and putting it actually in their mailboxes. Have you received that?
I think I did, yes.
Okay. Make sure you read that. Like, it's important to read that because that's how you verify them. Like, so if you have questions and you don't see it in there, like, hey, I asked this, I called you and asked this months ago, like, I guess not months ago, like days ago, and like weeks ago, so let's make sure, right? Because that's what we need to do. That's how we build power, by holding people accountable to the words that they said, right? And so, me at RBO, we are going to make sure that we always bring the people to the people we think that can fix the issues. That's how you hold me accountable. Like I will give you my card, you can have my cell phone number, you have an issue, say, Daniel, my grass is blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure if this is because of the derailment or not. And I'll be like, all right, let me call somebody from EPA and say, listen, what do y'all think about this grass thing and this and this? I have a resident who says this, right? That's my job. My job is to make sure we're taking the residents to, these federal agencies and things like that. So we will be bringing residents, hopefully a few truckloads, like a true couple bus loads to Atlanta, because I like to make mess. I do, I really do.
Good trouble.
Good, I love to make good trouble. Oh, it's the best thing I do. Like my mom said this was never going to be good for me. And then years later, I have a whole career out of it. And so I said, ha, 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 look what you did was wrong with. Then I said it in my mind, not my mouth, because I didn't want her to hurt me. So, yeah, I'm a kid of the 80s, so like my mom would know. I'm not. But literally, good trouble is what needs to be done.
Right.
And so keep making that good trouble. Keep using your voice. Keep talking to the people who are in this room. Keep listening to the panelists that are coming around. Keep listening to the EPA. But that doesn't mean you trust the EPA all the way. You verify with them, right? But the EPA does have the right to at least for us to listen to them.
Right.
You can't say the EPA is doing nothing, but we're not listening to what they're doing. Like, it'd just be asinine, right? So we have to give them that much trust in order for them to build that trust. You got to build it somehow. So we are working on getting that Atlanta thing done. We're going to be bringing people. There's going to be a government oversight hearing pretty soon, and I'm going to be looking for some people to go to Washington, D.C. with me, just so they can see our face. Because no one from the community gets to speak at these committee hearings, because it's Norfolk Southern, it's the EPA, it's CDC. They're speaking, but they're not hearing the people. And so what I told them is out of sight, out of mind.
Right, exactly.
So you got to hear the people. Like, hear the stories of mothers say they had to take their 18-month-old to the emergency room because she wasn't breathing correctly. Hear the story of, I just heard a story the other day of a young woman who took her young child to the doctors because they were bleeding.
Yeah, yes.
And they're like, oh, well, the CDC says these are the symptoms. Well, if they're the CDC symptoms, then what are we doing, right? But if we're not taking those stories and taking it to them, they'll never know that's not happening. That's what Dr. Lester said. They have to know. So we're going to keep on doing that. But if you feel like we need to do something more, I'll give you my card right now. If you say, Daniel, you're not doing enough, you can give me a call, you can give me a text, my email's on here, and you can whatever you need. If you just want to vent, but you have to let me know you're venting first, because I like to fix problems. So I don't need you to fix my problem, just vent. I have that problem. I'm a first child, so like I fix everyone's problems. So yeah, so that's your answer to the question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're about out of time. But before we leave, we've got two lovely songs up here, just to close us out with a little high note. And I don't know if y'all can see all those words because I accidentally made them a little too small. But one of the songs is Which Side Are You On? And the other is What Are Their Names? One is by Florence Reese, I think her name was, and she was the wife of a Union man in West Virginia, about 2 hours southwest of here. And What Are Their Names is by David Crosby, the folk legend. So,
You did change the wording for which side are you on?
yes, and the wording for Which Side Are You On has been modified slightly just to make it a little shorter so that we can all remember it. So, I say we do Which Side Are You On? How does that sound, everyone? To close this out. So, the lyrics, just for a first run through, and we can skip having a politician's name in there for now, unless you want to put one in there. You can say Norfolk Southern. Okay, so you can use Norfolk just because you need 2 syllables for that. So it goes. Which side are you on, Norfolk? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, Norfolk? Which side are you on? Trains are burning and people yearning, but you don't hear the call. People hurting, system ain't working, does it weigh on you at all? Does it weigh on you at all? Does it weigh on you at all? Which side are you on, Norfolk? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, Norfolk? Which side are you on? Trains are burning and people yearning, but you don't hear the call. People hurting, system ain't working, does it weigh on you at all? Does it weigh on you at all? Does it weigh on you at all?
Very good.
This wasn't supposed to be a solo.
Y'all, next time I'm here,
Next
I
time,
expect
we'll be ready for it
the
next
full
time.
room. We will send these lyrics to all of you. We'll have RVO email them to you.
This is not supposed to, this is like Christmas carols. This is not supposed to be, these songs aren't good because a good person sings them. They're good because a large number of really bad singers sing them.
Well, I want to thank you guys for hosting this, putting it all together, inviting all these, panelists here coming in from out of town, folks from Palestine and the surrounding areas that came in. Thank you so much for, supporting the youth of this area. And I hope the people that were able to catch it, on the internet, learn some things. And now, is this going to be available? Is it taped that somebody could watch it later?
I believe the Facebook Live has taped all the panel,
Okay.
but this presentation was not taped, unfortunately.
Okay, that's all right. All right. And he'll be able to upload it as well. So thank you again. We really appreciate you guys for taking care of this.
Good job, guys.
Very good.
Thank y'all.
Congratulations.
Y'all should pat yourselves on the back for being here in the first place, because we were really hoping that more youth would show up today, and I think it tells a lot not about the youth who didn't show up, but about the folks who did.
That's right.
Just how dedicated and how much love you all have for your community. So I want to thank you, and I hope you recognize that love for your community within you, and the power that comes with that. And I hope you use that power, and I hope you organize that power.
Also, our email, Our email is, if you want to send like those questions to us, it is P-I-T-T, like Pittsburgh, sunrise movement at gmail.com. That's our email. So send them to our email. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Stick your Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, so much for that's what you want to get fancy. Okay. Hasn't seen you in like forever. There's no power, no. Oh no. Yeah. I'll just throw another layer and make it blind. Just for me down. My husband just texted me a little while ago.